Now that we have the mocap data imported and applied to our character, we need to make sure that it is mapping well onto the target. As we play through this animation, we can see that the feet stick on the ground well and stay in place, but during the cartwheel, the hands go below the ground plane. We can keyframe the remapping settings so that the limbs work better in this situation. In the character panel, we can see that some of the nodes on the body are marked green. This indicates that Motion Builder is using IK position data to map those limbs. The limbs that aren't marked green are using FK rotation data for retargeting. We'll set keyframes so that the hands use IK during the contact and FK otherwise. We'll also do the same for the legs. First, we'll find our contact points. Instead of using the target character as our reference, we'll look at the source skeleton and see when that hits the ground. This is a much more accurate reference. We can see that the left hand first makes contact on frame 110. We'll go back a few frames so that we can keyframe before and have a blend into this IK mode. Let's go back to about 102. And again, we're working with the left hand. Make sure you select the correct limb. And so we're going to key IK blend T and R. These are the parameters we want to work with at 0 on frame 102. So click the K button to key those. Now we'll move to frame 110 where our contact is, set these to 100 and key again. We'll scrub through again until we find where the skeleton leaves the ground. It can be a little difficult to do with the character in the way, which we can hide pretty easily using selecting the character and using the visibility setting here over in the properties panel. And we'll do the same for the skeleton for now, just so we can find the frame where the hand leaves the ground. So on frame 120, the hand leaves the ground. So on frame 119, we'll key again, still at 100, move forward a few frames, set these to 0, and key. And let's bring back our character. You can see that the body interferes with the hands, but we can fix that later. What matters is that the hand is planted well on the ground and releases smoothly. Let's repeat the process for the other hand. I can press Ctrl A to change the view mode so we can get X-rayed on the skeletons. This is an alternative to using the visibility controls. So again, we can see the first plant on the other hand is on frame, looks like about 116, let's say. So we'll go back a bit again, keyframe, move to the contact frame, set these to 100, keyframe again, and you can see they do move into place. And the release for that hand seems to be 127. So again, on our last contact frame there, we'll key at 100, move a little bit forward, and zero these back out again. To fix the chest, we can select the chest node here and use its IK blend controls to move the chest out of the way. We'll start somewhere around here. We'll key all three of these options. Move forward to where the issues start to happen. Set everything to 100, so that's IK blend T to move the chest into position, and R. You'll notice that this does nothing. That's because the chest has to essentially fight the rest of the body to get there. If we turn on IK pull, it will push the rest of the body into the pose it needs to be in. or at least closer to it. So again, key all three of these. And once we're out of our cartwheel, key again, and one last time, back down to 0 to allow the body to resume its previous pose. While this still has problems, it's significantly better than the initial remapping. We can go a little further and change the feet to FK while they're in the air so that their pose is based on rotation instead of position. Let's do that now. I can select the channels here by clicking on their names in the Character Controls panel to view the keyframes in the timeline. I'm going to set 100% keyframes on both of the contact poses first. And then in the middle, set it to 0 for rotation. You can see that the leg extends better here. I'll repeat the process for the other leg. In the next video, we'll cover applying this animation to a control rig to allow for further animation refinement.